Hello, sports fans. Welcome to VIP Sportsnet. I'm Jim Sproul along with Michael Dugan. Today we're going to be talking about the week 3 of college football. It was kind of a wild weekend. There weren't a lot of marquee matchups, Mike, but
No, we had a hard time talking about some of these games because some of them were just not that rivalry versus this week is a lot better in games, but
there was some rivalry games going on last week. And, actually one of them I want to talk about first was Penn State versus Pitt. I mean, remember when our lead up to this, I told you, Pitt just looked like such an underdog, but we talked about when you're playing a rival, anything can happen. And Pitt, with 4 minutes to go, they're down on the 1 yard line. They get stuffed on 3 straight plays of runs and passes, and on 4th down, trailing 17-10, they kick a field goal. That does you no good. You still got to score a touchdown to win that game. There's only 4 minutes left. I mean, you may not get in that position again. So why wouldn't you go for it on 4th and 1 from the goal?
I don't know what the coach was thinking. I don't know.
Even if you fail, okay, they're on the 1 yard line. So you've got them backed up. You stand a better chance of getting a 3 and out on them. And at worst, you probably get the ball back on the 50 with about 2 minutes left to go. So why wouldn't you go for it? That's just a crazy.
It's poor time management, clock management, and it just maybe the environment. Maybe the environment got to him.
I don't see. I mean, dude, that's a no brainer. The field goal does you no good. You got to go for it right there. And I just wonder if the AD was like on the on the headset. Hey, we need to talk Monday morning. But yeah, that certainly was a head scratcher there, man. One of the next games I want to talk about, it was kind of a marquee game, was the Arizona State Michigan State game. I mean, Arizona State was undefeated. Michigan State, I believe, was undefeated, right? 18th ranked team in the country. And this one was just horrible to watch. Arizona State ended up winning the game 10-7, but certainly was not without controversy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just to the very end. They didn't know what was happening.
You know what? And props to Arizona State's freshman quarterback. I mean, he led them down there. At the end of the 4th quarter, led them on a drive to go down to score the go-ahead touchdown. Because, it was 7-3, and this kid just stayed calm. I mean, on the road, hostile environment, they go down there, they get the touchdown, and then here comes Michigan State. Boy, they get the ball there. They come driving back. They hit a big play. There's 14 seconds left, and they can't decide whether they want to throw the ball in the end zone or kick the field goal. So they send. After deliberation, they send the field goal team out there, and I guess they sent 12 guys to go out there. They kick it, make the kick.
And then they realize.
Game, tie game. The officials, nope, 12 guys on the field, so they back them up 5 more yards. And he kicks and misses it, but that's not the story. The story is the Arizona State player leaping over the center. You can't do that. How do you not, if you're the line judge, how can you not see a guy jumping over the center? I mean, idiotic. And, there's no replay on that. You can't throw a challenge flag or anything, but, I mean, everyone saw it, and it's just a robbery. And you're like, well,
oh, yeah.
Wow, this is just, sometimes officials just have too much of a say in these games, man. But that one was.
I mean, the outcome was a shocker, but it was a good win for the for Arizona State. They travel up to Colorado later on this week, but man, Michigan State. I mean,
their defense is. I mean, look at you. You hold a team to 10 points, you're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the thing about the field goal. I mean, Michigan State's field goal kicker had already missed 2. And there's no, if they get that leaping call, they want to move them up 5 to 10 more yards and get another crack at it. There's no guarantee that he makes that because he was iffy at best. Mm-hmm. But still, you hate to see a game, marred
that field goal that he missed was not just, it was going to the crowd.
That thing looked like a question mark when it traveled.
Cling.
Oh, man. Next game we want to talk about is Kansas State upsetting Boston College. Man, that was... Who saw this coming, man? Les Miles.
Yep.
Got K-State. Kansas, after Dave Beatty, this was going to be a tough rebuild. There was, everyone just assumed that the cabinet was bare as far as talent, but man, that's a shocker. Shockers, Kansas scoring 48 points.
Right.
And their defense holding, Boston College to 24 points.
Kansas is not the Kansas we've seen in the past.
We'll see. They've been doormats for a few years now.
But Les Miles coming there has definitely re-energized that program.
Yeah, they might have some enthusiasm they haven't had since Mark Mangino was there, and they won the Orange Bowl. But that was a shocker when I read that one. Then the next one I kind of wanted to talk about was number 25 team in the country, TCU versus Purdue. Yeah, this one TCU just put it on them. They rushed for like 300 yards for the first time in a game since about, I think it was 2016 or something like that. But they just come out and ran the ball on them. Darius Anderson had 179 yards and 2 TDs. After watching this game, one of the things became crystal clear is that TCU can run the ball and they can play defense because they held Purdue to just 13 points. And I believe that was a home win on the road win.
Yes, it was, because they were at Purdue.
Ross-Ade Stadium, that's where they were. But, and I had TCU in my preseason. I had them boys picked 14th.
I didn't even have them ranked.
A lot of people didn't.
No.
But,
because I felt like Patterson's kind of lost his winning charm. Ever since he kind of moved to the big
Well, they've been competitive. He just hadn't had a quarterback here. Now that they got that kid from Iowa, Max Dugan, and I think they let him play the final 3 quarters. Over the 5th-year senior. So, the kid, they're going to ride with him. If you can just get him a quarterback, because you have to have a quarterback playing the Big 12 if you're going to keep up with those offenses, because you're not going to stop them. So you got to score with them, and this is going to be good to see because, like I said, they are one of the few teams in the Big 12 that are noted for their defense. So the next game, what's the next game you want to talk about, Michael?
I want to talk about Iowa State and Iowa.
Yeah, wasn't that fluky? After the big rain delay and everything, and then Iowa State's right there with them. We talked about that, how that was going to be a close game. Then it all comes down to a punt hitting the Iowa State player in the back and Iowa recovering, and that was 2 minutes left?
Right.
You hate to see that stuff, man.
And then to pull out the 1-point win, 18-17, that was just that game. That was the longest delay.
I know. Was it 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours, and it was so funny. They were showing highlights of the Iowa State fans on the field just to kind of play around because they were bored, just sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah,
so.
when there's lightning in the area, they take all the necessary precautions to get those players off there, as well they should. Yeah, that was a close game, closer than many people expected, but we called that last week because when you're talking about rivalries, those things just tend to be closer than the Vegas wants them to make them out to be.
One game, and also another game I want to talk about is Maryland and Temple.
Yeah, man, that blooms off that rose real quick, huh?
I don't know what Maryland team showed up wasn't those last 2 win ones because, to lose to an unranked team, in Temple, 20-17,
and they were scoring like 50 points a game.
Yeah,
they were throttling people.
And to see that, I was shocked on that one. That was a big upset. Maryland was ranked 22nd.
Yeah, they'd climbed into the ratings for the first. It's been a while. And here they are, man. They're coming. Like, okay, they got prolific offense. They're able to move the ball on people, and then Temple of all people to show up and
to dominate, to win.
Yeah. And what was the other game I want to talk about, or you were mentioning earlier, was the Florida-Kentucky game. That turned out to be a lot closer. I mean, Kentucky was right there with them boys.
Mm-hmm. Their quarterback got hurt for Florida. He was out. That was just a hard win for Florida to win 29-21. Kentucky really held ahead throughout that game. It was almost like it's going to be an upset. And then Florida with 2 last-minute touchdowns.
They had to come back to beat them, didn't they?
Yeah. Florida was ranked number 9th, and Kentucky, of course, not ranked
at all, huh?
Yeah. And then I think they still got higher ranked this week than last week. But I don't know. I have to look. But, that was one that kind of caught my eye. That would have been an upset alert right there.
Yeah. Another one that we talked about last week, and I told you to be on upset alert, was USC going to play BYU, and BYU beat them in overtime, 30-27. But I just knew a team like BYU with the amount of seniors they have and upperclassmen, that they could present some problems to the young freshman phenom quarterback, and they kind of cooled them a little bit. That was a great game if you got to be there. Because that crowd was raucous there. BYU has.
Well, it was kind of interesting. Like the game was over and the fans were on the field, and then they called a penalty
after the game.
So they had to get the fans off so they could review it, and then it turned out to be against USC.
That's funny.
It was kind of like the old band's on the field, but it was like the crowd is. So that was a good win for BYU for that.
Yeah, Keelan Slovis, he put up some decent numbers. He had 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, but those 3 picks, man. Like I said, when you're playing a veteran team like that, and Wilson put up 280 yards in a TD, didn't turn the ball over. They were able to BYU was able to run the ball on them, and it was, started off. BYU jumped on them early, then it was all tied up at halftime. They didn't score in the third quarter. Then both teams scored 10 in the fourth, but just it come down to the 43-yard field goal in overtime to win it. But it was a fun game. USC had the 3 turnovers. Rushing yards. They both rushed the ball for they both moved the ball. They both had 430 plus yards. So that would have been one if you'd have went to see. You'd have got your money's worth on that one because I've seen BYU upset so many ranked teams before. I remember Ty Detmer and them beating the Miami Hurricanes. Gosh, fun times.
And then another game that no one's really talking about is how bad Stanford lost. 27-45.
Ooh.
And now Stanford is 1-2.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have thought that. I would have really predicted them to go deeper, in the win category right now. But I had Stanford 14th in my pick. And they just.
I told you, man. It goes when they change their offense. They have recruited for big, strong, physical offense. Run the ball, smash people, and then they come out and they're trying to be cute. And I'm like, you don't have the personnel for that. Now look at them, man. I don't know if someone put pressure on Coach Shaw to change the offense, but why would you? All your running backs are getting drafted. You're you're competitive every year. You're physical. You slow people down.
That's like I said. That was one that I was really shocked about.
Yeah.
And then also again, Florida State losing again.
Yeah, to Virginia.
Yep, that was 24-31.
Man.
And then everyone probably saw it. The Oklahoma, UCLA, more Oklahoma fans in you.
Yeah, because they were giving tickets away. But I want to talk about Florida State, man. They are just a dumpster fire right now.